or actually also to wish our people, a happy 50th anniversary celebrations, and let's let the program continue. And we ask Almighty God to bless this program and let His Holy Spirit just direct us in Jesus' name.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's get into the meat of the matter of our program in this morning. We have just, in the post independence, should I call it a celebration or anniversary or so? What is it from the duty point of view? Well, of course, if there's any reflection you want to, of course, draw this morning, how the duty felt about, of course, the entire celebrations and so forth. I'm assuming you have something to say about that.
All right, so thank you very much for giving me that opportunity. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank the government of Grenada, to thank our citizens, to thank all those, the planning committee and all the persons throughout Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique who really and truly planned this 50th anniversary celebrations of our independence. I mean, it's no easy task. It's a proud moment for all people, and I think the government of Grenada and those committees and all those who are involved in terms of planning did an excellent job. And I think all people in Grenada, we deserve the best. And what we have seen from this administration in terms of planning the 50th anniversary celebrations together with all the stakeholders who were involved, I think they really and truly gave Grenada the best. It was a wonderful celebrations from, listening to persons in Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, listening to people throughout the diaspora who came to Grenada and such. It was a very, very proud moment. So I think this 50th, anniversary, we want our people to just continue to move on and to make progress. And that's what we want. It's nice and wonderful to celebrate 50 years, but as our people, we must come together, work together, regardless of any political affiliation and such. Is Grenada first. And so we have to, really and truly dig deep. For workers, we have to step up our level of productivity, the whole nation rallying together, working together, so that the next 50 years to come, we'll have a better country, a better generation, a better people, a more productive society. And Grenada and such will continue to grow so that all people will move out of poverty and everything, and so our nation's children for education will develop. And we want to see as an independent nation that we're able to really link our various industries with agriculture, education, tourism, whatever sector, so that we can really grow and develop. And that's where we probably lacking. Yes, we had a wonderful celebration. We continue to grow. So that's where we want our people, our government to really and truly, and you can see that the government really have good intentions of Grenada. If you look at the celebrations and you could see that they really dig deep and they want to give us the best. So where our concern is really education, to transform Grenada, to transform the minds of our young people, our future generation, to transform agriculture. And that's what we see. We say Grenada have so many different things, all the local fruits, everything like that. And you see, we don't have an agro industry, we're not processing, we're not moving really and truly from primary production to secondary production to really and truly build our economy. We are the island of spice. We should be able to making tea bags and such for all sort of various plants that we have, herbs and such, and exporting and such. We should be able to process all the fruits and everything that we have. We should be able really and truly to link education, so our children from college, from TAMCC, should be able to do the various researches in secondary school and such, and make really and truly education a living thing in Grenada, to be able, everybody come on board. That's what we want to see for the next 50 years to come, and it means that all of us have to really journey together, work together to build Grenada.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that. Let's get into the meat of the conversation this morning. Regularization. Our last conversation, you did speak. You did promise an update to me about the regularization of teachers. Let's get some information on the regularization of teachers.
Yes, before you do that, I just want to ask you for one opportunity to lend some support and solidarity for the teachers of Guyana. We know what the struggles have been going on. We have experienced our own struggles in Grenada here, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, in terms of a salary increase and such. And that was before. That is something of the past. That's history now. If you look at the smooth relationship and what is happening for negotiations and such, we haven't really had that such problem for a long period of time. That doesn't mean it's a problem. but we are cognizant of the fact and we're keeping abreast with what is happening to our sister units and countries to the regions, to our teachers in Guyana, where they are struggling for salary increase and such. And the last really and truly tool or weapon, really and truly industrial struggles and strikes. And we see and we read and we abreast and we see what is happening at the government of Guyana really and truly wanted to, what you may say, seize the pay or dog the pay or the salary some teachers who are taking part in industrial action. And we say no to that because we had that experience in Grenada, so we know what is happening. That is a no-no, and we stand in solidarity with the teachers and workers of Guyana. And it was really breathtaking and heartening to see that the court has really stepped in and such and put a hold on this and sort of stop government hand in terms of interfering with workers' salary, with teachers' salary. And the government wanted to go so far in terms of really and truly stopping deductions of dues from teachers, and this is a no-no. So some things are happening in the region where we have a free and democratic societies where workers are really and truly should be able to take part in industrial action and such. And it seems that there are some governments that squeezing their muscles and doing those things, and those things will never work in a free and democratic society. At the same time, we stand also with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These teachers are struggling of almost about 200 teachers already removed from their jobs, and they were fired because of COVID-19 and the vaccine mandate. And even when the teachers union in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other unions took the matter to court and they were victorious, we see really and truly that the government really and truly won to appeal. And some of these teachers are really and truly never really go back to work. And this is creating a problem for social and economic justice. And so when we see our neighbor's house on fire, we have to wet ours. And we just want to put on record here our support for our territories and member units of teachers throughout the Caribbean region and throughout the world. And we just want to say to the government of Grenada, whether NDC or whether who before previous NNP or whatever future administration to come, that the Grenada Union of Teachers will always be able to stand and to defend and to protect our teachers and our workers throughout Grenada, Caribbean, Martinique. So we watching and we appreciate what the government is doing, because we don't have to march on the street and do all those things for our bread and butter. But we are watching with a watchful eyes vigilantly, because anytime those matters arise, that the Grenada Union of Teachers would not hesitate and will stand firm for social and economic justice for our teachers and our workers.
All right. Well, the question that I asked in terms of regularization, do you have an update for me in terms of regularization of teachers here in Grenada?
Yeah, so we have some good news to report in terms of regularization. We have seen that the government, have regularized the Ministry of Education 111 teachers or made prominent. So we want to put on record our deepest appreciation. We are very, very grateful, because this matter has been going on for years upon years. And so we are very thankful and grateful. But at the same time, we are cognizant of the fact that this regularization process is really and truly taking too long. There are quite a number of teachers, because we have about 450 teachers to be made permanent. 110 teachers is just already and truly dropped in the buckets. And what we observe, because even if the Grenada Union of Teachers did push for regularization, we did not directly get involved into telling the Ministry of Education and the government who to choose. So we never choose teacher A over teacher B. We allow the Ministry of Education really and truly to do the process and such. What we observed, so yes, it went to government, cabinet approved. We did not see the final submission before it went up. But there are a lot of teachers who are complaining, a lot of senior teachers who are there for probably 8, 10, 12 years, who were never successful in this round of negotiation. And it was very, very surprising. They are complaining, they are calling, and such. And we're asking the government of Grenada, so we're asking the Ministry of Education to go back on the drawing board. Let's put on the record, we are very thankful for the 111 teachers or 110 who are regularized. But at the same time, it is creating some problems there, because you have a lot of teachers who are in the system long, and they meet the basic qualification, and for some reason, they won't regularize. So we take a note of that, and we should be in the process of getting a second batch of teachers regularized. So we ask the Ministry of Education to do their due diligence, but to move expeditiously, so that these teachers really and truly, whatever that injustices have been done to them over the years for a long period of time, which this administration is trying to correct, that will be done quickly and justly and fairly.
All right, great. Happy to know that, and I'm assuming those teachers, as you said, even though it's just a drop in the bucket for in terms of the amount who needs to be regularized, that's happy. We're certainly happy to know that. Now let's talk a wee bit about the collective bargaining agreement. Have that been honored as yet? Is there any issues still surrounding the collective bargaining agreement?
Well, the collective bargaining agreement with the Grenada Union of Teachers and the government of Grenada, which was really signed in 2023, some aspects basically has come into fruition. But just before I do that, I really want to take the opportunity again to on the record, because we must be grateful and thankful for certain things that was done to us and certain good things. So the teachers, I want to put on record here for the Grenada Union of Teachers, all members and other public officers who really and truly received their 4% salary increase in 2024, and that really came into being already. So we do not have a problem with that. What we've seen, and we've seen again with this administration, we don't really have to march on the street at this moment to get our benefits, and it's a plus for our workers to help to motivate our workers and to encourage our workers, because the government seems to be going in a good direction for labor and for our workers, and we are thankful and we are very grateful. But I also want to say, put on record, for TAMCC, because you have teachers at TAMCC or lecturers at TAMCC who really and truly under the Grenada Union of Teachers. And so whatever agreement in terms of salary increases for all workers from since 2023, although teachers in the primary and secondary school did receive their 4% and salary increases, the lecturers at TAMCC are waiting still. So they have not yet received salary increases for 2023, and they have not yet received for 2024. So which means that some retroactive payments have to be made. And so we asking, we know that council, we know that TAMCC, they made the submission to the Ministry of Education, and we hope that that matter will be settled because that is a grievance there, and we hope that will be settled soon. We also want to put on record here, we observe in the process of doing that in the budget submission, that we are thankful and grateful for the 25% ex gratia payment for the Christmas. I mean, it's 25%. Yes, it may not be the whole lot, but at least we're able to get something. And we are confident that probably as the years go by, with productivity level and everything from our workers from the state as our economy improve, that the workers will be treated even better. We also look and we observe that the politicians, they get a nice increase, and we are appreciative of that and thankful, because our politicians not really actually supposed to be working for really lesser under really the workers of this country, when they are really doing, really are doing a wonderful job. So we are very, very. But we observe in the budget presentation that the Minister of Finance did say that probably there must be some other criteria appraisal, all right, in terms of for such payments to be made. So we're watching that, and we're watching that with bated breath, because we say at the same time, they're always governments, and that's who they are. Even if they give, sometimes with reservation, we are thankful. But we observe and we put on record here that the various ministers and even opposition, they got their increases, and they got a huge increase. And we're thankful to the nation for that, because we know the hard work and things that they have to do. But there wasn't really any measure or anything put in place to say you have to measure and you have to appraise them for getting their increases. And so while we're thankful for them, we also want them to take in mind, and we think that especially if you're giving an ex gratia payment at December, it should be for all workers, whether teachers, public officers, everybody, and there shouldn't be no really conditions that they put there, because they might get themselves in trouble for that, leaving out one against the other. So we're very thankful.
All right.
As we continue with the collective bargaining, there are some really important benefits that we got from this administration that we want the nation to know about, and we want our teachers to know about. And while we know our teachers are really working hard and they're doing a wonderful job, going beyond the call of duty for the very first time, all the units in the region, all teachers union in the region have been negotiating with CXC for the payment of SBA, school-based assessment, for the payment of CPA and other programs that the teachers really were going to the extra mile, and that wasn't their responsibility, but they were already doing it. CXC were paying other workers to correct the papers. But when it comes for teachers, we have been in negotiations with the previous government, with the Ministry of Education. We were never successful, even going to CXC. And so Jamaica won. The government were able to compensate the teachers and to pay for SBAs and CCSLC and all those things. But for the very first time, we want the Grenadian public to know that under this Deacon Mitchell administration, we were very successful in this round of negotiations for really and truly for CXC, school-based assessment, SBA, $15 for script. CCSLC, which is a Form 3 exam, $15 per script. CPA, $12 per project. CVQ, $25. And the registrar in the schools, various schools, who will be posting up the grades, $10 in terms of posting. So we are thankful and we express our gratitude to the government negotiating team and to the government of Grenada for really and truly honoring their commitment to teachers. So we call in our members now, because for the first time we are getting payment for that. So we want to ask our members, our teachers, to do the due diligence and their work and everything, and so to make sure that every child, really and truly have their projects and all the different things, whether at the secondary level or the primary level, so that they can really and truly perform well. So we express our gratitude, and we want the teachers to know really and truly what has happened here. We want to also, this is very important for the nation to know, for our principals. Principals in Grenada here have been struggling for a long period of time. There were teachers basically based on the grade that were working for more money than a principal in a school. If you do the research and so the journalists and from GB and other places, one would see and would appreciate that almost in all the territories throughout the Caribbean region, they were working, principals were working for more money and more benefits than the principals in Grenada, Caribou, and Petit Martinique. And that's a matter we have been dealing with for years upon years, and we were never successful. And in this round of negotiations under the Deacon Mitchell administration, for the very first time, we were able to, for a fringe benefit for all principals in the primary and the secondary level, to move from basically primary school principal from grade H to grade I, which means that they move into a new scale, a new grade, and they will get a salary increase, right? Better paid, better remunerated, in addition to the 4% that they're getting in January. And the secondary school principals really will be moving from I to J. All right, so a better scale and such. We realized that was supposed to take place in January of 2024. We haven't seen it come to fruition as yet. So we call in the Minister for Education, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, the government of Grenada, because really and truly they have done what they had to do in terms of supporting it, and we signed that agreement. So we look forward for the principals, because they checked in January and they haven't seen any change in their salary or in the grade. So we are calling upon the authorities and the persons to honor this commitment, and we are very confident that it will be done, because the Grenada, the new government under Honorable Deacon Mitchell did approve that commitment with the government negotiating team. So we are thankful for that, and we want to put on record our deepest appreciation. We ask our principals to really dig deep and to really and truly do what they have to do in schools, to really harness the talents of our students, of our teachers, for the growth and development of education for this country, and they continue to make the sacrifice even before, when they were working for really limited resources, when nobody wanted to be principals. These principals really made the sacrifice, so it is really just to them what is really happening now, and we thank God for that. I just want to say lastly, finally, on this matter, that principals and teachers, they must be able to see, based on the agreement signed with the government of Grenada, government negotiating team, and the Grenada Union of Teachers, that it did not just happen so in a vacuum. So principals, we want you to really appreciate and to lend support to the Grenada Union of Teachers, your union, because we will leave no stone unturned for our principals and for our teachers to get the best deal. We know that everything is not perfect. There are still areas where we have concerns and everything, which we're going to talk about in the show. But it's a good day for principals, and it's a good day for teachers, in spite of some of the limited things and concerns that we have still.
All right, Mr. Bartholomew, we're going to do for a break. Let's take it. We come back, and of course we talk talk some more relation to issues that are, of course, that have risen. We come right back after the break. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV.
Planning and Development Authority of Grenada, PDA, is enforcing regulations to curb illegal, disorderly, and unauthorized development in several locations throughout the state of Grenada. The authority is concerned that structures mainly associated with vending are negatively impacting the environment, has undesirable public health and sanitation consequences, present obstructions to vehicle and pedestrian traffic, can become projectiles during adverse weather conditions, and generally affect the aesthetics of the nation. The PDA will work along with stakeholder ministries and institutions to effect the demolition, removal, and disposal of structures which fall in the category of illegal and disorderly development, commencing January 2024. In this regard, persons who vend in or occupy such illegal structures are advised to secure their personal belongings and have the structures removed ahead of the planned PDA demolition operations. These actions of the PDA have become necessary to safeguard and protect public health and the environment, ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens and visitors, discourage any future disorderly construction, and encourage compliance to regulations pertaining to physical development in the state of Grenada. This is a message from the Planning and Development Authority of Grenada.
You mentioned the wing high, then you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low power there.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Welcome back, listeners. Viewers, welcome back to this edition of To The Point. Welcome back, Mr. Jude Bartholomew, the president of the Grenada Union of Teachers. Mr. Bartholomew, of course, when we wrapped up, I wanted you to give me some areas of major concerns that the GUT has that you may want to express this morning. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I ask for your patience. I just want to take the opportunity to thank the outgoing CEO of the Ministry of Education, Ms. Alana Roberts, because she really and truly started really gathering our concerns and, showing about trying to really alleviate some of the stresses and concerns that the teachers were already experiencing. So she had a short stint as CEO, but really and truly she really tried and she tried very well. I want to put on record here because we have a new Chief Education Officer, Mr. Dominic Jeremiah. And so I want to take the opportunity on behalf of the Grenada Union of Teachers to congratulate Mr. Dominic Jeremiah on his new appointment. And so far as Brother Dominic Jeremiah came into the office of CEO, he had an engagement, he had a meeting with myself and my fourth vice president. And we had a lengthy discussions in some of the concerns and such, and the way forward that he really wanted to see for education, the Ministry of Education, and we are very heartened by that. I also want to put on record here that Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, yes, we know that he really and truly a professional person. Now, we are confident based on what you've seen that he's going to take education forward, for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. And he gave us the assurance that he's really and truly willing to dig deep and to solve some of the problems, ongoing problems, for teachers and everything. Of course, that he want to see, teachers are responsible responsible, that teachers are professional. He wants to see that going forward, the teachers do what they have to do, and teachers really and truly dig deep and really make the sacrifice for education and the commitment. But in spite of everything, there are more that we have to do. And as a Grenada Union of Teachers, we just want to encourage our teachers to really dig and to continue making the sacrifices and the commitment that we have to education. But you've seen a sort of trend, this sort of care and warmth that we're seeing from Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, the concerns. He's communicating nicely, calling in touch with the president of GUT, with other persons from the union. If you have a concern with a teacher, he will call. And I just want to express for the nation to know, a teacher did call me who had a really emergency and had to travel, with her son. And she was having some problems. And she did call afterwards to say, President, I called Mr. Jeremiah and just lay out everything to him. And the empathy that he showed and to really deal with the situation, and she was really able to travel. And that's what we're looking for. We know that teachers, we are expected to do our jobs, to do our role and everything like that. So, but we want to see somebody, and we want people from the Ministry of Education, all those who are working there, we are thankful for the sacrifices that they are making, whether they are under GUT, whether they are under PWU, they are workers. And some of them are really actually trying and going the extra mile to do what they have to do for teachers. But and the sort of soft heart and commitment from the new CEO, Brother Dominic Jeremiah. So I'm putting it on record here today. I don't always do that. We don't know what tomorrow may bring, but I'm giving him the praise because we've seen a sort of trajectory and his concerns and the things that he wants to do for our teachers. And so today we give him the praise. If tomorrow, please, the thing change, I will come back still in the program and give him and give the Ministry of Education some files. And that's what GUT approved. But for today, I'm going to call on all teachers and all those in education to rally, and to support, education, support the new chief education officer, Brother Dominic Jeremiah, because what I'm seeing so far for today, I speak about today, you could see that he really wants to take education forward, and one could see that he has the concerns of our teachers heart, and he's going to do what we have to do. So I'm calling on Brother Jeremiah, especially with our concerns with regularizations that we did speak, to really and truly see if you can give us a second batch of teachers to be regularized soon, quickly, and all other matters. We have a serious concern. Now, those matters that we're talking about was not under Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, because he just become CEO, but there are some long outstanding grievances that are, there is no reason why the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, for going on over a year now, teachers have been complaining about their salary slips. You're getting pay and you just cannot get your salary slips. The government said that they're going paperless. They asked teachers for their emails. The bulk of teachers gave their personal emails to the Ministry of Education. We're not sure. You ask the Ministry of Finance, you ask the audits in Ministry of Education, they have no control over it. You try to see what is happening with finance, they have no control. Nobody could say who is responsible in government. Is it the Ministry of Finance? Is it the Ministry of Education? Or whatever department? And those things is not really looking good for the government. Now, I would say that the government, they are honoring their commitments. They are paying salaries on time. They're doing what they have to do. So why would the Ministry of Education, the government of Grenada, allow those little matters to pull them down? Those things are unnecessary. So we're asking them, we don't want to go on another program again or go somewhere else. Let that be the last time. Let that be the last time, the last complaint for salary slips. A teacher can't tell you, they can't calculate the pay, they don't know if they get the correct salary increases, they don't know what is happening because you're not getting. And it's against the law. You must get your salary slip. Sometimes you want to do a business with courts, you want to do something by Robots, you want to do somewhere with all the business entity and such, and you don't have your salary slip. This is against the law. So we're asking, I hope that the minister is listening. We're asking the Honorable Deacon Mitchell and other persons in government to put an end to this. So to speak to the authorities wherever, whether finance, education, and let this basic problem come to an end. Teachers and other workers need their salary slip every time we get paid. So let today be the last. Another problem that we've been having in terms of the late payment for teachers, especially teachers who are on contract. For the Christmas, there is a teacher who met in an accident. I don't know what happened. She was bumped out or pulled out of the payroll and everything. For months, that teacher couldn't get paid. We keep going. I keep going to the Ministry of Education, other persons from the union, going and complaining in the Ministry of Education from every department. And that teacher reaching a stage where for a week when school opened, she wasn't able to go to school because she really and truly, as she said, and letting the nation know that she had to keep borrowing money from friends, from other persons. By the time she get paid, she has none. And she didn't get, well, I think that matter is settled now. But those issues have been going on for too long. Grenada is a place where you deal with science and technology. You have all the various departments. Other ministries don't take long to get paid like that. I have listened to other workers from various ministries. They start to work from this month, at the end of the month, they get paid. Why is it that a teacher in this day and age, in this modern time, a young teacher who have their family to support and everything like that, so the commitment, and you burdening them and giving them this extra stress is humiliating for persons to have to be going and beg and borrow and all those things while they're working. There is no reason why the Ministry of Education, the government of Grenada, cannot do their due diligence with the paperwork, just as they ask the teachers to do what they have to do with a plan, with the this, with everything. You have to show it in school when they come. You must have everything. The government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, Finance must get their act together and have things in place so that every teacher should be able to go to work on time. Let this be the last time. That has been going on with the previous administration. The previous Minister for Education, Sister MMP, already tried to solve it and such. But we see that we're going back to that direction where teachers are taking too long to be paid, and it's a problem. We have another problem here. With pension, we want to thank the government of Grenada, like with the teachers, we want everybody, the nation, to know how grateful we are for pension restoration, for the High Court judgment and everything. The government of Grenada, under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, they have made the commitment in honoring the payments for teachers and public officers. We don't have a problem with that. Where we have a problem, there are some issues in the probably the Ministry of Education where teachers who they are pre-retirement leave sending the documents of pension, and it is taking too long. There's a situation with a teacher from Carrick who called over 1 year. The documents in the Ministry of Education, and you're hearing it's by the higher authorities, not the ordinary workers that are responsible for that. Why is it that those matters are taking so long and you're frustrating people? I'm sure that the Deacon Mitchell administration would not be happy about that because they made the commitment for pension. They paying pension. So there is no reason to have workers suffering for this long period of time. There is a gentleman who retired from Hillsborough Secondary School, Mr. Dave Cox. He gave 38 years of service, and up to now he have not received, I think he did not reach the threshold in terms of for full pension. But there is something in the law for special pension. And there are a lot of teachers who are suffering because they didn't meet under the qualification and everything for full pension. All right, from the state of Grenada, there is another law in terms that the government has already put in place for teachers and workers who have not met that threshold, and the law provides for special pension. Now, before the pension restoration, a few years ago, what used to happen after 1983? But there was some error. So the pension law really and truly moved to 1985. So teachers and workers, public officers, they were covered for pension. But what happened? The government of the law did not move special pension law. It came to an end. You had to be working before 1983. And there is some injustice here. So just as the restoration of pension, we're calling on the Deacon Mitchell administration, this government, to really look into special pension for teachers and other public officers who are there. They do not reach the requirement for full pension from the states, but the law make reservations and all those things for special pension. And there are a lot of people who are there and suffering. So we want that matter to be dealt with quickly.
Okay, sir. Okay, so of course, thanks for telling us about some of the concerns. Another concern I've been hearing lately, of course, and of course, been a lot of conversation relating to that, is the issue of the school feeding program. Tell us about this, what you've been hearing from the GUT point of view, and what are the concerns that you may have in relation to the school feeding program.
All right, so it's a wonderful initiative by the government of Grenada, not only for the school feeding program, but for the students at TAMCC. And I think parents and the whole nation should be appreciative of it. especially at TAMCC, what the government is doing with their plan. If one really look to see, is really and truly putting programs in place to ease up the burden upon parents and sending their children to school. So this is a plus for the government of Grenada, and parents should really and truly show appreciation and to be grateful for that. Yes. So TAMCC, we talk about the delay in which the payment were made. Now, basically, what you're hearing that the government did order the commitment to pay for the students going at TAMCC, and we appreciate that. So there are a number of good moves that the government is making. When it comes now to the school feeding program, it's a good initiative because anything that is being done to really alleviate that burden from parents so they no longer could say, well, the children cannot go to school because they don't have lunch, which is good. The question one is asking, are those things really and truly well thought out? Very good program. And there is no reason why it cannot be implemented. But there was no discussion with teachers, the stakeholders, GUT, and that's where certain things is lacking. Not that we don't want the program, but we might have been able to give the government or the Ministry of Education a good little advice and said, instead of doing that for everybody, when you look at a school, let's say for a secondary school or some big primary school, you have 450 students. You have a secondary school with 500 students. Do you have all the necessary basic things in place to really to handle that matter? Are you thinking about other workers? You can't have one cook in a school and say school feeding now is free for everybody. So that one cook now have to cook for 500, 600, 700. Have you already actually thought about if a school have one refrigerator, one fridge? You were cooking before for probably sometimes 50 children a day. Now you're talking about the possibility because you open up that. So the possibility that 400 children, 300 children, 500 children could be eating in a school at any one day because you open it up now to be free. So do you have the proper storage mechanism? Have you given the schools, all those schools, another fridge so that you can store things? What about the stove? Those little stoves that you have in school now, you're talking about a volume of 400 children to cook for in a day, or 500 is no easy task. What about the pots and pans and plates and cutleries and all those things? But to add to that, schools were struggling even before when the children had to pay $1. Because what the Ministry of Education now, what they did before, well, you could go in a village shop or you could go somewhere and the school already had the credits, because school doesn't really generate income until teachers have to be working hard in all these duties that they don't get recognition for, having dance, having fair, having this, doing all sort of things to raise funds. So when you have to go in a village shop, do they have the capacity in a village shop that you're crediting, let's say, because most times the schools will credit the groceries and all the things needed to cook. So what about that end of it? What about that end of it? So we think that is a good program, good initiative, but all these discussions need to take place to support schools and all the basic work that you have to do. Cooks, can one cook raise these heavy pots, and those cooks have been doing a good job. And I want to put on records their cooks have been crying out. The cooks meet me all the time as the president of GUT. Yes, we have the minimum wage and everything have been increased, but the salaries for a long time are very low. So you have the volume of work that they're doing and everything, and that's also government have to look at in terms of, better payment. You have to look at the pension reform and a pension plan for these people, for cooks, for cleaners in hospitals, and all those persons who really only imagine they're working, but they already have no secure future. Their salary is very low. And so that is our concern. The fridge, the stove, would government now, the Ministry of Education, to provide another stove, commercial stove, all the cutleries and the different things, and the groceries and all the things that you need to feed all this volume of people, that you really and truly open up the school feeding program to everybody. I'm happy because parents should be happy because they are saving, but it could have been done another way, where the Ministry of Education could have so decided that all the children who really and truly at that level where the parents cannot pay and they cannot come to school, you look at it, you study it, you do all your analysis, and you say for those children, it will be free. And going forward, if there should be any family or students or parents who are not able to take care of their children, that they excuse to send them to school, and they reach in that situation, then you add them on the list so that you will be able to control. But when you have it open for everybody, it's a burden for the school, for principals and everybody. And quickly to say, a lot of the times, the teachers lunchtime, teachers go down to the kitchen and such because you need other workers now. So let's hope you can't just have a cook to take care of school feeding program or cooking for 500 students. You need support staff for the kitchen for every school, especially the bigger schools. Well, so I don't know if Imanis or other persons, and you don't want to put Imanis at that level, but the Ministry of Education have to really dig deep now to send other workers to help out, to dish out the food, to share the food. Because what happening is that a lot of times people, the nation, don't know about that and they don't appreciate. You have a lot of teachers who sacrifice their lunchtime when they should be eating the lunch and relaxing for the lessons in the afternoon. They go down to the kitchen and volunteer to share food, to dish out food, to make sure that children eat. So we want to put it for the nation to see, because teachers dig deep and make the sacrifice, the commitment. There are a lot of things that teachers do besides really teaching that sometimes they don't get the praise for the appreciation, principals and teachers. So we need some assistance there if you open up the program, because most of the times teachers don't get a chance to eat their lunch. And what we notice, and I will say it here, the teachers for the lunchtime, they have to stay in school, they look at the children, you have to observe and everything, because you still have to have your due diligence, and teachers will continue to do that. But when a teacher go to another place, I don't want to call other places and call the names, but when you go to other places, they're making you know that this is the lunchtime. And I will just call, if you go in the Ministry of Education, sometimes the same teacher who are making all the sacrifice in school and principal during lunchtime to watch children, to make sure that children eat, to help to do all those things. If you go down to the Ministry of Education, yes, there are people who time they will remind you that this is their lunchtime. So it is fair for them. And in other workplaces, you see now, when the teacher goes to pay a bill or the teacher go to something, let's say if it's lunchtime, they remind you that this is lunchtime. But if it is lunchtime for them, it's lunchtime for the teacher too. So the teacher should be able to eat their lunch in peace and to relax, to go back in the afternoon time, refresh, to be able to do their work. But that is teachers. Teachers will always make the sacrifice and the commitment for the nation's children and to go the extra mile.
All right. Mr. Bartholomew, due for a break. Let's take it. We'll certainly be back with much more, folks. To listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two, feel free to do it, and also in the next segment. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary, Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio, The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary, Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. And, of course, in this segment, approximately 10 minutes or so left on today's program, we invite you listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two for Mr. Bartholomew, you feel free to do it in this segment. Let's take our first caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Oh, yes. Good morning to you, GT. How are you today? Have a great day.
Oh.
And good morning to Mr. Bartholomew. I want to congratulate you, sir. You're doing a good job. You're doing a fantastic job. I think you're covering everything. You know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But I want to remind you, sir, that the population is very small, and cost is very high, and sometimes revenue is slow to come, Saying that, do you have any idea of how the government and the private sector can attract revenue, in other words, to allow what you're saying to happen? Do you have any idea of what they can do outside of the box to raise revenue so that those things which is urgently needed can be achieved? Thank you, sir.
Yes,
thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. Any response to the caller?
We are very interesting question. We are celebrating 50 years of independence, and we have these old colonial sort of laws against public officers and workers that you cannot really open a business while you are a teacher or a public officer. And when you analyze it and such, what you're doing is really keeping down your nation from your best talents. Can you imagine 2,000 teachers, even while you're teaching? So government should have structures in place and you make sure that your teachers do their job. But the government will be able to raise much needed revenues in taxes and everything if you have 2,000 teachers and you have 2,000 businesses. And that's how the economy will grow. You have about probably, let's say you have 3,000 public officers or others who are able, to do a job. So you put the laws in place, you do things. So you have to open up the economy. The economy of Grenada is a bit too restricted. And who you're doing that is your best talents. You have teachers who have the skills, they have the talents, the know-how, the creativity, and all those things. But yet for all, the laws is against them in terms of having a business on their own. And those are the things that are restricting our economy. That we have to dig deep in agriculture. Grenada, we have rich soil. 50 years as an independent nation. We have not really and truly dig deep in terms of secondary production. Think about all the things. Look at Barbados. They don't have a river. They export all sorts of different things. It should be a kind of embarrassment for us as a nation. We have good soil. We have water. We have everything. Why is it that we don't really have all the mechanisms in place for agro industry, secondary extraction and exporting, and not
seem to have lost Mr. Bartholomew there for just a wee bit.
That's what we want to see going forward. Whereas we have a planning not only in education for the transmission of education for education going forward, but there must be a linkage and such, and everybody dig deep, private and public sector going together. One of the things in Grenada is all people have not been really taught from school or from small to invest. All we do as our Grenadian people, we go and we put our monies in the bank, and then a few people come here and there and they take it and they spend it and they make money. And that's how we always say fools make money and wise men spend it. So we have to open up our economy. We have to have wide talents, digging deep. Why not a symposium from the government of Grenada, private sector, everybody coming together, especially the 50th anniversary of independence, and look from every direction how we can bring our citizens and everybody on board to improve productivity in education in every sector. The other thing is that we have to kind of put an end to this political division. We must know as a people where we are and where we want to go 50 years from now. That even if, as I said before, everybody would not support a political affiliation and government, but what you're supporting is Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matnik. You're supporting the future of your children and your generations to come. So it doesn't matter who you are, where we are. We have to put those things behind us and work together to build our country, and all of us will benefit at the end.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning to Mr. Bartholomew. I sit down there and listen, but the bottom line is, you know what, my friend, we need visionary leaders with a vision. And they say where there is no vision, the nation perish. But you're doing a good job. But I just want to find out two things. I'm a bit sad that some of the things that you talk about that it still continues, or you still have problems. You know, I was hoping, of course, this government has just come new and so on, whatnot, 2 years, but I'm a bit hurt that some of the things keep on reoccurring with the late salaries, etc. And I was listening to a program the other day, and somebody was telling, well, they said that how apparently the cooks, one of the cooks say that they didn't get you see, the government passed a law with the minimum wage, so it should go up to 1,200, and apparently they went to some a union tell them don't bother them, and so not your union, and it's very disturbing that that is the law, and the government should uphold the law. But what I want to find out too is this. There was a thing there in TAMCC that I think they had a little sick out inside because the money that the government had promised to pay them, the balance they didn't pay. Or what is the situation with that? Has that been rectified? Because remember, with the last government, it was really up and down and it was a talala, and this government made strides to pay the people, which is appreciated, you know. But I'm just saying to you, what is the position? Is that strike still on? What is exactly happening? Have the government honored their commitments to pay the people? But my friend, what I notice about you is straight from the heart. You're doing a great job, so all the best.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah, before you go, caller, are you talking about the pension payment before the court ruling that the previous administration were offering to pay workers? They gave them something, I think it was supposed to be 70%, and when the court judgment come and they got pension, that workers, pensioners were supposed to get the rest. So I think that if I
we may have caller have already left, and we have also lost connection there with Mr.
The previous administration did in the meantime to alleviate the burdens of a lot of persons. You remember, since 1985, a lot of teachers and public officers did not receive pension. So persons were hurting, persons were going on the poverty line, persons were struggling. So we at least want to give the previous administration credit for that. Even while we were struggling for the pension, they did intervene and give certain workers and pensioners an advance in payment, with the assurance that once the court judgment come now and we had the victory, that these persons will get the difference. So anybody who really and truly got an upfront payment with the previous administration and they're struggling now to get the money, whether teachers or public officers, we want you to come forward and to say, for teachers who are struggling and pensioners, please let us know. Other public officers and persons who are out there, let us know. Let your union know. And for persons who are struggling really and truly for special pension, come out, let us know, let the teachers know, let our union know, because it's social and economic justice, and it's unfair for persons who are there. They make their years, they work hard, their commitment, and they are struggling. Now, I want to say quickly that we have seen basically no administration is perfect. This administration just came into power. We have to be fair with them. We have to be fair. The previous administration ruled Grenada for 20-something years. We cannot just quickly, in 2 or 3 years, try to measure up the previous administration with this administration. What we are seeing is that this administration are laying the foundation and the groundwork to take Grenada forward, laying the groundwork to take labor, to take teachers, to take public officers, to take everybody forward. So everything would not be perfect for them, but you can watch and you can see and you can observe that they are trying to lay the foundation. Not everything they would get right, because you cannot replace what was done for 26 years and expect this administration to be perfect for in 2 or 3 years. But we have to do our due diligence. We have to be watchful, unions, everybody, and do what we have to do. Quickly, there are a few things that I want to talk about very quickly. So we go back to TAMCC very quickly. TAMCC, based on the 1996 Act, with TAMCC becoming a statutory body, the lecturers at TAMCC and workers there, once they're not under the public service still, because you still have a few workers in TAMCC under the public service, but other workers, they do not have a pension. And so we're asking the government, yes, TAMCC is a statutory, we have council, but TAMCC don't have the resources to operate on its own. So we're asking the government to dig deep and such in whatever pension reform to take TAMCC into consideration for the other workers. At the same time, what we're talking, because I'm picking up a little speed now, we know the program coming to an end. Very, very important. We're watching this pension reform from this administration. We fought too hard. We fought hard, tooth and nail. It doesn't matter what the Grenada Union of Teachers who led the struggle went through. Our salaries were dark. We go through pains and huts and to restore that pension for our workers and for our teachers. So there is nothing that we will not lose that pension. Pension restoration means that all the teachers, because that's in our constitution, even if you're not a permanent teacher as yet, but based on the constitution of Grenada for pension, whether you become permanent in 4, 5, 30 years to come, that pension layout is there for you and public officers who basically and truly receive your permanent teacher. All right, you are a permanent teacher, you are a permanent worker in the public established worker. So we don't want to lose that in pension reform, whether for teachers or for public officers, because that's something that we fought for tooth and nail in the constitution. Pension reform now must take on now all the other workers who are unestablished workers, whether cooks, whether cleaners, whether who those people are, they are working with government, whether contract or what the case may be, but they don't have a pension. So it's unfair and unfortunate for them, and we're asking the government to dig deep to do what they have to do. Cleaners in the hospital, I went in the hospital a few weeks ago to do something, and then the cleaners there, I meet people there who cry out. They cry out. They said they're frustrated because like nobody listening to them. What we're saying, it is good, and we're happy that we got an ex gratia payment. We're happy that we get salary increases and everything. But justice must be for all. It doesn't matter where the worker is, where it might be, whether in the public sector, in the private sector. Social and economic justice must be for all our people. And in the hospitals, medical centers, cooks in schools, everybody crying out. Yes, they have basic salary, but a little ex gratia payment, and we're asking the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration to dig deep and to look at these workers who probably during COVID, the cleaners in the hospital medical center, these people work and they sacrifice to make sure that the place clean. If they didn't do what they have to do, we might have been worse with COVID, and they would always say that. But teachers and other persons got a little 50 extra salary for under the NNP administration. They got 25% ex gratia under this administration. But what this caliber of workers, like nobody care for them, nobody giving them anything. So I asked, they may not be able to get 50, they may not be able to get 25, but we asking the Deacon Mitchell government, show some compassion and some love for all this category of workers who have been sacrificing and working hard. They don't have a voice. Now, they're not under the GUT, and I don't really have to speak for them. But as union, we speak for everybody. We don't want anybody to be left behind. So dig deep and do what you have to do for job security, for all those things, whether for e-monies, whether for cleaners, whether for cooks, whether for all categories of workers. And we want the same for workers in the private sector, in tourism and other places who have their struggles. There are some workers who retire and they leave their job in tourism sector and other places, and they do not get the payments. It is unfair and unfortunate, some of these things that is happening, and the government have to tighten the law. Very quickly, I want to talk about the NS. I really want to talk about the NS, but probably before I speak about the NS, I want to say quickly about sports. All right, so we know that we're the sporting season. We are very proud of the Grenada Union of Teachers. We joined sponsorship with a new entity now, Nexa Credit Union, that was previously Teachers Credit Union, GUT Credit Union, so in one family. And I could say that GUT and Nexa have been doing a wonderful job for the sponsorship of the primary school branch sports so far. And the branch sports have been excited and everything. And persons are looking forward now to the national games, national primary school games, which will be on the 6th and 7th of March. So we're asking the nation, we know Grenada has a love for sports. Sports is in our DNA, to come out. Sports will be now, both track and field will be 2 days. What used to happen before, field events used to be on the first day, but we felt that the students need to get more coverage, more exposure, everything. So it will be exciting moments of wonderful track and field games for the 2 days next GUT working hand in hand. And I just want to say to the nation, don't underestimate our teachers of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matnik. We dig deep. We have been shaping, molding, touching, transforming lives. It's the teachers, Jude, the union Jews, that cause us to sponsor sports. Teachers have been sponsoring sports for years upon years, spending over 100,000 every year for sports, whether branch or whether at the national level. Sometimes the nation doesn't know about it and government doesn't appreciate it. That's where our monies go. The monies that should be going in terms of our union dues for our teachers. But we love our students. We'll do everything in nation building. For this 50th anniversary, the Grenada Union of Teachers and its members are digging deep and to showing love, to mold, to shape, to transform, whether education, sports and culture, in everything. Our teachers are already doing what they have to do to shape our children so we have a better generation and we have a better future. Lastly, the NS. We are having another problem. I mean, the NS, we appreciate what the NS is doing for already and truly old age pension and everything for our workers and for persons in the private and public sector. We don't have a problem with that. We must do all that we have to do to support the NS. But we having some problems here with some things. Police officers came to me, nurses came, other persons are talking behind the scene because sometimes they cannot talk privately, they cannot talk publicly. But the concern with the NS old age benefits, where the penalty that workers are getting, and you're talking about also the moving of the retirement age from 60, basically incrementally to 65. That two things are becoming a problem for teachers, for public officers, for nurses, for policemen, and everybody. And government has to look at that. If you look at a teacher, the stress that you go through every day in the classroom is not an easy job. We just get a sabbatical leave. Not every teacher gets that, a break of 3 months. In certain places, we're following everything. In Europe, we're following everything. Those places, they give teachers and they give public officers a break of 1 year or two to free up their mind and to cool themselves so they could come out to work. We're following all other strategies from these people. But when it comes to the benefits, we don't do that. We don't give teachers a 2-year break. And the stress of every day, night and day you're working. When you're a teacher, you're sleeping, but you're working still. A teacher in this day and age, with the stress that you're going through, with children, with all the different things, you cannot walk up to 65. You cannot. What, you're going to go to work with a wheelchair? The ambulance will come to take you. It's difficult to deal with children now. As soon as you talk, sometimes they are good children and we tell the parents that I want to push you down. You think a teacher at 65 years could go in a classroom and already handle? So government has to look at that. Probably nurses to policemen are complaining. So we have to go back to that. We're not saying the NS must look for other ways to get its resources and everything like that. So there are lots of persons in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin that should be paying NS and they're not paying. The other problem that we have with NS is this regularization and this contract working. Because if teachers and public officers, if the right thing were done for all these years, where these teachers would have been able to receive a permanent job, their salary would have been increased. It means that the NS will be able to get more monies. And those are the problems that we're having in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin. So we're concerned about this going up to age 65 for our teacher and probably some other categories of public officers, and government must look at that. We're concerned about the penalties from NS. If teachers and principals who retire now are calling, and even police officers, I went there and they discussed that with me, if they retire this year, before January, those things are put into effect, they have a 5% penalty. And you have a lot of persons who NS doesn't pay a big pension, little monies you get in, and you have a 5% deduction. It's kind of unfair. But what we're seeing, if you go up to 62, you have 10% if you take your pension at 60. You could always take your pension at 60 from the NS, but you have a penalty. So 62, 10%. 63, 15%. So if you go up to 64 and you want to take your NS pension at 60, what you're going to pay is 20%. And you go to 65 and you want it at 60, you pay 25%, that is really too much. So in other words, I find the government and the NS, they probably in agreement to that, but the teachers and the workers not in agreement to that, because it is creating some problems. This is unfair and unfortunate. After you reach your threshold and your maximum for NS and everything, those things creating a problem. So why not just put one penalty? You take it before, you don't even say, well, it's 5% or 10, you say, well, just leave it at 5. or it should not be for the workers who really make the sacrifices and do all that they have to do. What government and the NS have to do, we have to grow the economy, create space for young people to be employed, give people the opportunity to make children. Our teachers are complaining. We had a situation where our teacher on maternity leave, because really and truly you can't make 2 children in the space of 18 months, you're not getting your NS benefit. The teacher did not get it. So if you're doing that and you have restriction for maternity leave, and when you make your children, it means that you're hindering growth and growth for your population. So give people the space and such, provide the incentive, go education, let's grow the economy, let's do all things together and see if the NS will get...
Mr. Bartholomew, I may have to ask you, we are a bit strapped for time. We are way over our time limit. I'm going to give you 1 more minute to just wrap up, and we may have to call up the program for today. So please do so, please. Give you 1 minute to wrap up, please.
So I just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone, to thank GBN for really giving us the opportunity to host this program. I want to call on the Ministry of Education. Let's work together, partnership with the Grenada Union of Teachers under the new CEO and everybody, teachers, everybody to dig deep, the nation to work hard, and let's do what we have to do for 50 years to come to really be proud of our nation and to work together to build our country. And let's do what we have to do. And I just want to thank the nation and thank everybody for your listening here, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bartholomew, and the best wishes goes out to you and the folks at the GUT. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Our best wishes once again to all who tuned in. What a great week it was. That's why I say goodbye.